You're listening to Season 14 of the Virtual Tailgate, a media bullcrap production covering college football in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm Andrew.
I'm David.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jared.
That was 3 beats, Jared. Be sure to join the tailgate on Facebook at Virtual Tailgate or email us at virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
I mean, he was currently indisposed, apparently.
Listen, I just wanted to make sure.
All right. Moving on. And
all right. Well, we're starting off great. This thing is already going off the rails. So let's dive right in here. Let's say, are you single? And if you're listening to this show, it's a good chance you are. You in your 30s and still live at home? Are you currently in your underwear listening to this fine podcast down in your parents' basement? You might think, unlike yours truly, your lot in life is due to lack of money or Jared-level looks, and that could indeed be part of the problem. But we've got a respite from that Cheeto-eating, beanbag slouching, video game-loving hermit of an existence for you. Takova's work boots. These fine boots will have you feeling confident and walking taller right out of your parents' basement and into the world. Who knows, maybe you'll even get a tan. Takova's work boots. They say the boots don't make the man, but in this case, they can't hurt. I don't get any outro music. There we go, yeah.
The
All
doors are closing.
Mercifully.
And again, I ask, you got a segment in here? Or are you just going to crap on our fan base?
No, that's my best work.
Great.
I can't tell who, but one of you is dying right now.
That's me. I'm dying.
Okay, I think we're talking about players of the week here, and so I'm gonna.
We got game balls to hand out here, guys. All right,
I'm
game balls. Andrew, what you got going on?
I'm gonna lead it off.
Who's confidence this week?
Emmett Mosley from Stanford, wide receiver. So surprising, right? We got a Stanford offensive player getting a game ball. I believe their first time in virtual tailgate history that we've got an offensive player. I think we handed out a defensive game ball for Stanford a little while ago. But he had 13 receptions for 168 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's the most receptions and touchdowns by a true freshman in Stanford history. And his 62-yard touchdown was the longest passing play of the season so far for the Cardinal. Welcome to the dance, Stanford.
And you know what? In the words of Nelly, if you're going to give me one, give me 2 of those. Because we got another game ball for another Stanford player. Ashton Daniels, the quarterback, was 22-33, 298 yards and 3 touchdowns and a pick. And, just kudos for Stanford finally getting their first a really impressive win over Louisville. As an FYI fact, he also carried the ball 22 times for 34 yards.
That means getting that's when it's not quite a sack because you made it back to the line of scrimmage, right?
Yes, exactly.
The only thing I can come up with there is those are Vanilla Vic numbers he's putting up on the ground. Sorry. No, I take it back. And I have a game ball to hand out.
David let the dog out.
Mine's going to North Carolina tailback Omari in Hampton. He's having a monster season. Carried the ball 35 times, 244 yards, and a tutty against Wake Forest. He is the first Tar Heel in school history to rush for 100 yards in 8 straight games. After this monster performance, Coach had something to say to Omari.
Get some Gatorade, man. Enjoy your day.
All right, and my game ball this week is going to quarterback Kevin Jennings of the SMU Mustangs. Had a really solid game against the Boston College Eagles last week, 24-35, just shy of 300 yards passing, 3 TDs and an interception. Kevin Jennings has quietly kind of put together a season where he's not putting up huge numbers on an individual game basis, but really is putting up consistent numbers as the Mustangs have kind of quietly been behind Miami for most of the season in the ACC as far as notoriety, but have really climbed the ladder in the rankings and are just on the outside looking in. of the college football playoff, but and a lot of that's due to Kevin Jennings' performance on the season. Currently ranked 7th in all of FBS in yards per pass attempt, with an average of 9.5 yards per pass. So Kevin Jennings putting together a solid season, quietly under the radar in the ACC and nationally, and put together a good game last week in which they needed everything from him in a closer matchup than anticipated against the Boston College Eagles.
All right. Well, now we're going to jump into the power rankings, which are brought to you by this special parody service announcement from the Virtual Tailgate. Well, we are heading toward another holiday where, for many, they have to grit their teeth and bite their tongue as you dredge through another Thanksgiving with many family members that you don't want to be around. But did you know there's a few escape options you can implement to ensure a no-show or early dismissal from this annual reoccurring funeral? 1. To avoid going in the first place, say that you're sick, but commit to it. Go to the hospital and tell them that you have some sort of rare disease and need overnight admittance. Ensure you record it on your social medias so that you have proof and get sympathy points from your high school friend that you haven't spoken to since its graduation day. Oh, see, I'm already working on it. Number 2. If already there at the location of the Thanksgiving event, then stuff anything and everything down the toilets to clog them up. Then flush until Noah's flood ensues. Bust out of the bathroom yelling, "Toilets clogged! Run for your lives!" And if you can use the real creation from within the depths of your hole, then use that instead for authenticity. Last but not least, lastly, if needing to leave after finishing your meal, look straight at Nana who slaved over that turkey and tell her that the Sahara has more moisture than that dry bird. Please note that if you do choose this option, that you'll have to fight off Nana and her knife, as well as any other family gunfire. The best of luck to you and safe travels. Here's to hoping you can tolerate another terrible holiday. The more you know.
You get your butt beat.
And you all thought my Takova's work food segment was going to be the low point of the show.
No, that was definitely a high point.
Yeah, let's just jump into it. Number 5, we have the Louisville Cardinals dropping a spot on our power rankings after their surprising upset loss to Stanford, 38-35. The Cardinals are 6-4, 4-3 in conference play, and yeah, I agree. George, you got something to say?
He clambered up, looked in, and nearly fell off in surprise.
Someone defecating.
Turn clogged, run for your lives.
And you're not kidding.
No, I'm not. Number 4, we have the Duke Blue Devils moving up a spot in the power rankings. Why? Because they had a bye week. Why not? 7-3, 3-3 conference play. Yo, Mac, what you got for them?
Some Gatorade, man. Enjoy your day.
Tied at 2, we have 2 teams. We have Miami on a bye week, oddly enough. 9-1, 5-1 as well. Mac?
Enjoy your day.
That's out of Gatorade.
Yeah, that was like a half Mac right there.
Yeah. And Clemson is also at number 2. After the 24-20 win over Pitt, the Tigers are 8-2 and 7-1 in the conference, and in prime position to be able to play for the conference championship if everything goes their way. Also, the Tigers' conference play is complete with the 7-1 overall record out of 8 games. And at number 1, we have SMU. The Mustangs hung on and beat a fairly resilient Boston College Eagles team 38-28 down in Dallas. The Mustangs 9-1, 6-0, undefeated in conference play. And we have our bottom 3. It's the same names as before. This is nothing new here. 15 Wake Forest. No change in the power rankings and spots up or down. Wake Forest lost 31-24 to North Carolina. Stanford, though, at 16, did win, beat Louisville 38-35. And Florida State, you had a bye week. You're still dead last. Yo, Rock, what you got to say?
The Rock says they kept you at the bottom of the barrel because you absolutely suck.
And for shits and giggles, John Cena, anything you got to add?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to know why Jeff and David didn't give Stanford anything for their win. Like, Stanford doesn't deserve to be the second from worst team. They deserve to be the third from worst team this week.
I think it was kind of it was their body of work, Andrew.
Come on, man. They got 2 game balls and you couldn't promote them one measly spot.
Let's scrap the rest of the show and devote it to discussing the bottom 3 in our power rankings. I think that's probably a good use of our time.
Well, that thought actually, Jeff, because I don't know if you've looked ahead at the schedule of matchups for this week, but of all the weeks in ACC history, this is one of them.
And don't forget, but David, that's not true because we have the historic, the most revered, one of the most talked about rivalries in all of college football with so much ACC history. We got Stanford and Cal football, baby.
Yeah. We do. But before we get there, Jared, I'd like to invite you to take a little walk down memory lane with me.
Oh, crap.
Barry Bonds is named the National League's most valuable player. Greyhound Bus Line announces that it will reorganize in order to become a publicly traded corporation. And the pop duo Milli Vanilli are stripped of their Grammy Award after being exposed as chronic lip syncers. All of this history was made on this very day 34 years ago. Now, let's talk college football.
God.
Just barely.
Jared set it up for us. We've got one of the classic ACC matchups in Berkeley. The Cardinal coming to town as 13-point underdogs, taking on the Cal Bears. The band is on the field as we speak. The virtual tailgate experts are divided, split right down the middle. Andrew and Jared are taking the points in this one. Convince us that you're right.
Do we have to convince you? You guys just took Cal on the money line. I mean,
yeah.
I think Cal wins. I just don't think Cal can win by 13 points. I don't think they've won by 13 points all year. They probably have.
Let's get blast from the past. Let's get Lou Saban to check in on that for us here. They did, in fact, beat Oregon State by 37 points.
Okay, well, who has?
There you go.
They beat UC.
Who do you think's better, Oregon State or Stanford?
Yeah, they're in fact 3 of their out of conference games did they win by that many points. But yeah, they've not done that in conference. In fact, they mostly lost in conference. So I'm going with Stanford is also most. Stanford.
Oh wow, that you've been legit ass in conference.
Yeah, Stanford is also mostly lost in conference, so I don't see this being a blowout for Cal in any way, shape, or form. This could be a ridiculous backdoor cover for Stanford, or Stanford could have finally figured out what an offense is after this past week and decided they're going to implement it again today. At any rate, there's no way this is a blowout win for Cal, and so I am taking Stanford on the spread.
I got to be honest with you, Jeff. They're making some good points here.
Well, I think they're making some good points, and I think the Stanford, the Louisville game last week gives me a little bit of pause. Not that I think Stanford is Louisville's level, but the ability to compete and come out with the victory last week in that game certainly lends me to be a little more skeptical. This 13 points. This is a big line, and I know that Andrew and Jared just rattled off when Cal had won by 13 points, but this is not a Cal team that overall is a team that I just can envision consistently being 2 touchdowns better. I mean the passing game is underrated. I think there is the possibility that they take advantage of Stanford's secondary and put up a lot of points. I don't know about that defense. I feel something about me feels like this game is more of a 10 point, a 9, 10 point spread than a 13 points. I could be totally wrong, but I cannot quite buy into a 13 point spread for a team like Cal that has played competitively, has won some games and has looked good, but has not kind of shown the consistency to not let teams hang around. And for that reason, as much as I wanted to pick on the spread, I had to settle on the money line. I think Cal wins. I just cannot figure out if it's by 2 touchdowns or not.
Yeah, that's where I land also. You guys are saying there's no way this is a Cal blowout win. I think it is possible. I mean, if you take a look at the body of work for Stanford, that Louisville game looks like, I mean, maybe they did turn a corner, maybe they found something on offense, or maybe it was a strange 1 week fluke win at home, because Stanford has been very, very bad for a long time this season. Cal, on the other hand, has just been right there with everybody. Cal is clearly the better team. That's why they're 2 touchdown favorites in this one. I feel pretty confident that Cal gets the win at home. It really, the only question is how much that's by. That's why I'm kind of hedging the bet, taking them on the money line. But I do not think it's crazy that we wake up on Sunday morning and Cal's won this game by 3 scores or more.
For whatever it's worth, it looks like, just looking at the ESPN app real quick, the line's been pushed to 14.5, so they are not feeling Stanford keeping this game close. At least
the
not.
Nation is not as high on the Cardinal as you guys are. Speaking of being high, Jared, how are you feeling about the Hokies prospects this weekend or this season?
Well, in the words of Steve Spurrier, not too good. Not too good. Listen, the Hokies have lost a lot of close games this year. A lot of one possession games that has been really haunting the program now under Brent Pry. 1-11, I think, is the stat I saw last in his career so far with the Hokies in 1 possession games. That's abysmal. That's not good. He's got to find a way. I'm still waiting for that 60 minutes of football for the Hokies, like a complete game. It has not happened all year, so why the hell is it going to happen now? And that's why I just feel, believe it or not, Duke is just even though the record indicates they're a better football team, it's because they are a better football team. They will play a team game top to bottom for 60 minutes while the Hokies will play 45. And that 15-minute difference is going to be enough for the Duke Blue Devils to technically pull off the upset in this game. So give me the Blue Devils at home, 8 o'clock under the lights down there in Durham.
I love Blue. What you said there, Jared. Even though the record indicates that Duke's better, they are.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I mean,
I think Jared's kind of right, but I'm willing to hedge a little bit on that, on some sort of ridiculousness of somebody going for 2 and failing, or just the score is getting out of whack so that it's actually like a 2-point game, even if Virginia Tech ends up winning. But like, I don't think that Tech wins this game. They have to go on the road. I tend to kind of agree with Jared that Tech has not been a complete football team, at least a complete game of a football team every year. I anticipate them turning it around by the end of this game and being fully ready to play, if not 60, even 90 or 300 minutes of football against Virginia, that they will compress into a single game and wallop the Cavaliers next week. But this week, I think they might lose.
Yes. Go ahead, David.
No. I need help figuring this one out.
Well, I might too. I think what I come back to, and this is far from a vote of confidence in the Hokies. For sure, this is not a situation where I think that Virginia Tech is head and shoulders better than the Blue Devils in this case, because I certainly don't. I think I'm still, despite the 7-3 record, this is a Duke team that I've been searching for what's kind of that aha victory. I mean, they were competitive with Miami, I guess, a little bit. SMU was their close loss. That was the game they certainly kind of snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. So maybe you go there. there's just something about this Blue Devil team that feels just a little bit off, and something that I can't quite get comfortable with them putting it all together in this game. And I don't know what it is, other than that this Virginia Tech team, despite the 5-5 record, the last two losses. Now the Syracuse loss was certainly an ugly one, but the defense keeps teams in check for the most part. I mean, they gave up 14 points to Clemson, gave up 6 to Georgia Tech, 7 to Stanford. So I feel like this is a test for this Blue Devils team, and especially especially Malik Murphy, who has played a pretty good season at Duke, and has been part of what has sparked that offense and that team to be to a 7-3 record. But there's something that I'm just a little bit concerned about with him on offense, and I certainly do not feel confident in this. The only reason I'm picking the spread versus a money line is because it's so close anyways. I think that this spread is about right, because I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched. I think it's probably going to be a good game. There's something about me that can't quite buy the Blue Devils right now, and I don't like saying that, because I like seeing when they put things together, they're a fun team to watch. But there's something that makes me uneasy about this matchup.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, Jeff. I would not lay actual money on this. I'd be willing to bet Jared's mortgage, but not anything of my own on this contest. Here's what I think it comes down to. I think it's the Hokies' rushing attack. If they can establish the run, control time of possession, they'll win this thing. Duke really struggles with that. And I think what the Hokies can do, if they can establish dominance on the ground, is they can wear down that Duke defense, so that even if they don't put together a 60-minute performance, by the end of the second half, Duke's going to be going on fumes. Hokies are going to be pounding the ball ahead. I think they win the game that way. Give me Virginia Tech. I'll lay the 2.5 in this one.
So, David, just to make sure, dominance, pounding. My goodness, just some very suggestive words there, buddy.
Now it's time for the quickfire bets to wrap up the show.
Jared, also known as the Quickies, apparently, based on.
Oh, jeez! Wow.
Jared and I are on opposite sides of the fence here for our quickfire bets. I've got Virginia covering the spread against SMU with a
bless your heart, Andrew.
Likely through a backdoor cover. That's all. I'm also a little bit hoping for the chaos of just the chaos. But really, I'm just going to say backdoor cover on that. Jared, obviously you think SMU's going to win big.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the backdoor cover. What's that innuendo for, buddy?
Okay, you're moving along.
David, where are you going?
I'll go next, I suppose. I think it is easy money to take Pittsburgh. Right now they're getting 7.5 against Louisville. That's way too big a spread for a Louisville team that we've seen is just not very good. Pitt is desperate for a win after dropping 3 in a row. I think they probably win this one outright, but they certainly cover that big spread.
Yeah, for my quick fire bet, I'm going with NC State here. They're getting 9.5 points against the Georgia Tech team. These two teams, in my opinion, are much more evenly matched. NC State hasn't had a very good season thus far. Georgia Tech has kind of come back to earth. They did have that big win against Miami. Obviously, the opening big win against Florida State that seems like eons ago, and clearly is not what we thought it was to start the season. But NC State plus 9.5. I think you can start making some money early on Thursday night.
All right. Well, that's it for the Virtual Tailgate. You can send your questions or comments to virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
Always remember these 3 rules. Never get less than 12 hours sleep.
Never play cards with a guy who has the same first name as the city.
And never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body.
Stick to that. And everything else is cream cheese.
That's ball game.
So, I'm confused.